This week on the Retirement Quick Tips podcast, I'm sharing with you 5 expensive things that I bought last year that were worth the splurge. And I want to talk about, I mentioned this every day this week, but it's important to ask yourself a couple of questions. One, does it fit within my budget? Or am I going to have to drain my bank account? Am I going to have to put it on a credit card that I'm not going to be able to pay off right away? So if it doesn't fit within your budget, that's a non-starter. If it does fit within your budget, then it's important to ask yourself another question, which is, does this align with my values? There are trade-offs with everything. So what other or better purpose could the money be used for? And so that's what I think makes it hard to find spending decisions that like, yeah, that was worth it versus no, I should have spent the money on something else. But money values, especially when it comes to spending or lifestyle, you want to think about those things and make sure that you know what are your values when it comes to spending money, lifestyle. Are you trying to save time? I would argue that any expense, not any expense, but expenses that save you time, that free up your time is money well spent. Does it enhance bonding with loved ones, family, friends? Does it create lasting memories from experiences? Those are things that I value. I also value comfort, maybe to my own detriment. And I value simplicity. So more stuff equals more headaches. And I do want to live simply and not fall into this consumerism trap. And so some of those values really drive my spending decisions. One other thing I value is sports, physical activity, especially golf, and more recently, pickleball. So I play golf as much as I possibly can, which is honestly not that much when you have a podcast. Oh, I don't know, a business, and gosh, one other. Oh yeah, 4 kids. I don't play a lot of golf, but I do love golf. And I played a ton of golf. Before I had kids, I had a couple of years where I played like over 100 rounds a year, which is, if you were a golfer, like that's a pretty incredible feat. You do that by playing golf, not once, but twice a day. I would do that occasionally too. That's how insane I am about golf. Anyways, I love golf. But the last set of golf clubs that I bought, the last set of irons I bought was from maybe 12 or 13 years ago. And that's not good because if you play a lot of golf, which I did. I mean, the first 4 or 5 years of owning those clubs, I played a lot of golf. So they have had a lot of wear and tear. And the face wears down. The angle of the shaft with the club head, like that can become distorted over time because you're hitting the ball. I mean, I've hit these irons, all of them, thousands and thousands of times. And so I don't really know what a lifespan is of a set of irons, but I definitely wore mine out. My driver is also old. My other woods and hybrids are also old. I know I'm using some jargon here. My golf clubs are all old is what I'm trying to say. But I don't like change because I do like the clubs. And I'm worried that if I get new clubs, it's not going to feel as good. I'm not going to hit the ball as well. I just don't like changing that. So I put it off for probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 years longer than I should have. But I did buy a new set of clubs in the fall of 2024, and it was expensive. I'm a low handicap golfer, so I'm not going to Dick's and buying a set off the rack. I just can't. I can't do that. I'm a 5 handicap golfer, and that's even with having 4 kids. If I have time to practice and play, I used to be basically scratch. So I have to get custom fit for my swing and everything else. So that's what I did. I got custom fit and I ordered a set of pings. And it was a few $1,000s. And to me, it's worth it because it's my primary sport. I'll probably own these for another 10 or 12 years and be long overdue. In fact, my husband used to make fun of me. He was like, I cannot be seen with you with these golf clubs. Like, it's embarrassing. You're a good golfer. You shouldn't be playing with these old clubs. He's just giving me a bad time. I mean, he's half joking, but he's not joking. And then I played golf with a friend of mine this summer. And he kind of closely inspected my clubs. He's a club, I don't know, he knows way too much about golf and equipment and clubs. Like I would say maybe a lot of men that I know who play golf do, they just know like an insane amount of things about pointless. Why do you know this much about golf clubs? Anyways, so he's like inspecting my bag and he chuckled. He laughed at me. He's like, oh, this is vintage. Look at that. I'm like, it is not vintage. That's not, it was so old. It was considered vintage, apparently. But anyways, next up is a new driver, probably some new hybrids and woods. I'll probably tackle that sometime in 2025 if I feel like it or get around to it. So did fit within my budget. I knew I was going to make the spend. My husband was totally on board because he didn't want to be seen with me without new clubs. It adhered to something I value, which is playing a sport that I love that requires some investment and upkeep every so often. All right, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. My name is Ashley Michike, and this is the Retirement Quick Tips Podcast.